My husband was extremely successful.
My husband was an amazing and brilliant man.
My wife, Barbara Flood, was a very successful attorney in San Diego until she died by suicide at age 27.
The human brain gets sick.
2 of our 3 children's marriages broke up.
It's part of life.
And then my daughter died.
Okay, I will try to describe depression.
And 5.5 weeks later, my husband shot himself.
She left me with 2 daughters, aged 3 and 1.
It was a journey that was devastating.
Lying on the floor, staring at the ceiling, utterly unable to move.
And in the end, it was a journey that cost his life.
Like feeling a tiger inside your body clawing to get out.
Rational thinking doesn't come into play.
Who is me and who is bipolar?
And those are the places where I felt suicidal.
And as I make this recording, my 44-year-old daughter is on suicide watch in a hospital in San Diego.
We do not understand the toll that mental health takes on our society.
Clinical depression and accompanied by bipolar illnesses, and then all of the related conditions are, as of 2017, declared by the World Health Organization to be the most burdensome illnesses in the world.
When John Graydon told me several years ago that he was going to create a depression center, I said to him, "John, you're crazy."
In the 15 years, we go from concept and idea to a physical location and facilities to breakthrough research and collaborations across all kinds of schools and colleges, departments, and programs.
The Depression Center has helped to bring depression and psychiatric illness out of the darkness and confront the ignorance and stigma.
I do believe people are getting treatment earlier, and I think it is in large part because of the University of Michigan's investment in a depression center.
When I first started working with John Graydon, there was no insurance parity. And there was no understanding of head injury and depression. There was certainly no genetic research at all.
Our depression center, being the first comprehensive depression center in the world, has done several important things. One, it has brought the idea of bringing together expertise from a broad array of disciplines and specialties, not just in medicine, but from engineering, from information science, from public health.
The goal was, we need to think about a whole world working together.
I've worked at a variety of settings and at different academic centers, and I've never come across a place quite like the Depression Center.
We tried to create a climate where there would be a sharing of ideas, a training of a new generation, a collection of data.
The type of work I do requires collaboration across the spectrum, and there's no better place to be in the world than the University of Michigan.
It's truly a center to bring together research and care and policy.
Depression Center leadership is not going to be satisfied with a new treatment that's shown to have enormous clinical benefit if no one can get access to that treatment.
Depression Center is looking to tackle very complicated problems.
The field of psychology has to move towards a focus on access to care, and the Depression Center is 100% leading that mission.
The promise, especially psychiatric research, is amazing right now.
After many years of study looking at the human genome and the information that was unlocked by the Human Genome Project, we determined that there are no single genes that convey all of the risk for the depressions or bipolar disorder or anxiety disorders.
So what we found, for example, in the laboratory is that the nerve cells that are derived from individuals with bipolar disorder have a greater reactivity, and you can see that reactivity in the lab. So when the cells fire, they fire with a greater intensity from individuals with bipolar disorder compared to the individuals that don't have bipolar disorder.
And so reactions that might seem like overreactions, they can't help, because bipolar individuals' neurons are firing so strongly that it's harder for them to have a moderate reaction. They tend to react very strongly, highs and lows.
So Dr. Sen, Srijan Sen, who is one of the associate directors of our Depression Center, initiated a very innovative study looking at graduating medical students at baseline and following them over the course of their residency, particularly trying to understand what the stress of the intern year did to them.
There are chemical changes that happen to DNA over time. So we found that during this stressful intern year, telomeres shorten an amount that you'd expect over the course of 6 years. So the telomeres are the ends of chromosomes that shorten with each year of life. So these guys biologically come in as 26-year-olds and leave as 32-year-olds. And some of those changes, epigenetic changes, can in turn affect our vulnerability to mental illness.
If you think about the patients that come to the Depression Center, oftentimes there's so much stigma involved with mental illness that getting them through the door is a huge first hurdle. From a time standpoint, I think it's really critical to understand what this means for patients.
Having myself been through those years of try this, try that, maybe this will work, oh, we think this will work, and then it doesn't.
So what exactly is pharmacogenomics? It's really the intersection of understanding medications and how your genetics, your genes, can impact whether you could potentially respond to a medication or get a side effect. And so by doing the genetic test, we can help reduce some of the trial and error that we currently have.
To be able to even just with one medication know for sure that's gonna work is phenomenal.
None of us is untouched by these disorders. They're that common, they're that prevalent, at work or at home or at school.
National studies of mental illness in youth suggest that rates of mental illness in kids range from 20 to 50%. There's a long history of the field of psychology, I think, not standing up to correct standards. So providers offering therapeutic services that feel great in the moment, they're validating to the kid, they're supportive, they're encouraging, but the underlying problem of depression and anxiety doesn't ever get better. The result is that you have skyrocketing levels of suicide and homicide among young people. And you also have a community that starts to lose faith in the benefit of seeking clinical care. Teaching students effective skills to manage their mood, to deal with disappointment or rejection, to help quiet their stress and anxiety, that's not therapy, that's common sense. That's teaching fundamental life skills.
Once this illness hits you or someone you love, you are never the same.
It's a battle. It's a battle.
The Depression Center is really only just beginning.
The clinical work that's here, the research work that's here, the policy work that's here, all of that is fundamental.
My passion in mental health was driven by my father, who was a wonderful person with terrible bipolar disorder.
We are enthusiastic because we feel and we're convinced that we're on a winning streak.
Such huge hope.
University of Michigan is just the leader. And I can see the fire in their eyes.
And that's the passion, that's the beauty that the University of Michigan Depression Center brings to all of us. That's the passion that the donors who give money for research and advocacy and education, whether it's through NAMI, the Depression Center, that's why we're going to win. We are going to fix this. We are going to get this right.
We're going to defeat depression and bipolar illness and all of the related conditions that go along with it. We are, and it'll take all of us together, but it will happen.